Okay, howdy do, everyone. It's time to get started with whatever we're doing today here. Okay, so this is my. Let's see, what did this say? Connection to Facebook has failed. Yeah, that I got to figure out why that fails. I thought you could share to a group, but maybe not. Anyway, I'll have to check that out. All right. So let's see what we are doing today. I think, yeah. Why don't we start out with a little news from around Asia here? Let's see. It's not very beautiful, but I'm going to head and share this anyway. I'm going to present my screen over there, share that up. All right, this is Folks paper, which I have lately been contributing to a little bit here. Let me share my link here. That's this kind of a thing, and I do this. See if that works anyway. Okay, so let's see. The 70, that's a long time ago. Here is a news story. Hey, Black Eye Dog. Hisashiburi desu. Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, I've been broadcasting. I missed 1 week because I actually took the wife shopping that day instead of doing my broadcast. But other than that, I've more or less been broadcasting nearly normally. Might be a little bit less than usual, but I've been trying to keep up. But it seems that, yeah, I think some things are going on in HAPS, and people are beginning to look elsewhere. No, people have begun to look elsewhere, and not quite as many people on as there used to be. So anyway, this is a news story here. China may have been involved in the death of Uyghur researcher. I'm not sure. Uyghur. Uyghur. How do you pronounce that? Let's see. Look that up. And it says, it doesn't give me a pronunciation there in the place I looked it up. Yeah, I like HAPS too. And you know, I guess, yeah, my opinion is that people have come from other platforms with certain expectations that HAPS would be everything that everything that they had become used to, maybe better or something, and HAPS doesn't necessarily have the same ideas of exactly what they want this platform to be, that not necessarily the same as some of the people that came from other places. I think that HAPS is gonna survive. I really do. I mean, I still think that it's growing and it deserves to grow. Growing and shrinking at the same time. There are people that are leaving because they've been disappointed, but then that happens in a lot of platforms, right? I myself, there are things that HAPS does very well, and other things that it doesn't do so well, strengths and weaknesses, and so on. So, yeah, what it does well, I think it can grow there. It, it's not the what do they say, the do all and be all for everyone, right? It's not the perfect platform for whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm not trying to toot anybody's horn really, or trying to persuade people to look elsewhere from Haps, but I've looked at at platforms like Heckle and so on, which is very, very new and very limited. It's a small subset of what Haps can do, but what it does very well. It has zero lag. That's one of the things that people playing my game have talked about. I don't understand those leaving Haps for Twitch when you can multicast from Haps to Twitch at the same time. Why not do both? The people that are leaving Haps for Twitch, I think, are those that want to monetize. Because if you become an Twitch affiliate, part of the agreement is that you will only stream to Twitch and that you will not multicast to other platforms. So those people that want to monetize by becoming, I'm going to try Heckle, but I don't have iOS. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a Heckle, but that's the thing about Twitch. People that want to monetize, then you need to limit yourself to Twitch, which is why people I follow on different platforms, watch their videos and so on, have actually, some of them that were quite successful on Twitch have moved off of Twitch to YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have that requirement that you can only stream to YouTube if you're monetizing on YouTube and so on. So the people that want to expand beyond the niche of Twitch, I mean, it's a large niche, but it basically started as this game streaming platform, and that's still by far the focus. So people that aren't doing that, like me, I mean, my games are not the kind of games they're talking about. They're not I don't even know what the games are. Grand Theft Auto, is that still a game? Or Doom or something like that? Minecraft, I guess. Never could understand how people could sit around and watch other people play games. I mean, isn't it much more interesting to play the game yourself? I really, I'm too old, I guess. I don't understand the whole concept of watching other people play a game. I mean, I've even kind of gotten away from watching real game, like athletics and scantily clad women. Oh, really? I haven't. There are other platforms. What was it? I was looking around. Bigo, Bigo, Bigo was one that seemed to be a thing, and what else? Maybe. Oh, I can't remember. There have been several that I looked at that were like that, and that's just so boring. Yeah, and just not that much of a spectator for those type of things, so that's why I like the live platform that Haps offers, because there is that interaction. You can go live on YouTube, but a lot of YouTube regular viewers are used to that highly polished format, that highly polished product that comes from skillful editing and high production value and so on. Those of us that are here on Haps are used, at least I have become accustomed to the live format. You want to be able to hear people. You want to be able to see whatever they're presenting, but this high production quality is not the main thing. It's the interaction that people bring to it. So I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of the way I look at it. Um, and Heckle, one thing about Heckle, I will say I mean, yeah, it's limited to iOS, so that limits their, the people that can use it to a large extent. And it's still early in development. They don't have replays yet. So you either have to catch somebody's live or you miss out, right? There is no chance to watch it later. And there is no multicasting. So you can't broadcast cast to at the same time to another platform. But what it does do, I mean, it gives you a very streamlined interface, very easy to use. It allows you to easily zoom in and out with your camera. Um, of course, switching cameras and so on, but zooming in and out on the camera. And the picture quality is very good, I guess, because iOS, so most iOS devices have pretty good cameras built into all of them at this point have very good cameras built into them, much higher quality than most webcams that you're going to find. They're and plus pretty good sound. I mean, they are telephones that are more or less telephones after all, iOS, iPhones, and so on. So they have pretty good built-in microphones. So the sound and video quality is pretty good, and the lag is nearly zero. I mean, it's really, really good. So that's one of the things that was coming into play with my game is people were noticing lag here, and that clearly has less to do with my personal setup or people's personal setups than it does with something that's going on in HAPS, the way their servers are working, I would say. I mean, I understand that, HAPS is doing a whole different thing. I mean, HAPS in a way, with, I mean, the app is simplified, in a lot of ways. But this web browser experience, using the Broadcast Studio within the browser, they have a studio with, that allows you to switch cameras, to share screens, to bring up guests, to play pre-recorded materials, and yeah. So I mean, it does a lot, and it's across. It's on the Chrome browser. Anybody that any platform that can run a Chrome browser can run the HAPS Broadcast Studio in the Chrome browser window. So trying to do all that, I could see where that would be a challenge to do that, and and not introduce certain anomalies, certain certain limitations, like the lag and so on. Yeah, but that's the way that works. Let's see. So so the there was a researcher, a woman, I believe, Mirai Erkin, 29, had been working at Japan's Nara Technology and Science Institute. When she returned to China in June 2019, she was detained and sent to the Yanbulak Detention Center in Kashgar in February 2020, right? And just some information about that. So it had something to do with Japan and China. So I'm in the Asia, so I thought I'd write a little article about that I'd heard. This is something that happened a few days ago in Atami, um, which is a kind of a what we call onsen, a hot spring resort city in Japan here. There was a massive landslide. Had been a lot of rain and so on, and that caused a landslide, and it destroyed um, what's this 130 homes and buildings. This was not too far from Tokyo, 90 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. So it's at 50 miles, something like that. So far 3 people dead, but that was the last number that I heard. But 80 others are missing, and if they're still missing, it's not looking good. So anyway, that's something that happened not too long ago. And what else have we got here? Oh yeah, again, the Philippines is near and dear to my heart. So maybe you don't know, that's where I built my home in the Philippines. Yeah, which I'm looking forward to seeing again someday. Looking forward to actually being able to go to my home would be nice. But there was a military plane, and so this is near and dear to my heart in several ways. This plane crashed, and there were 96 people on board, and about half of them, 45, almost half, 45 people were killed. And yeah, so it might have been pilot error, but yeah, and I think they say that most crashes are due to human error someplace. Either some mistake in the maintenance or some mistake during the flight and so on. But the plane was a Lockheed C-130, one of 2 former U.S. Air Force aircraft given to the Philippines this year. Given is a generous word there. Actually, I think I should have restated that, but that's the way they described it in the article that I read, and so I just used that. So anyway, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said in a statement Sunday that Washington is ready to provide all appropriate support to the Philippines response effort. Yeah. What are they going to do? Don't know. And then a new one here today that I just posted. Japan may limit spectators at Olympics opening ceremony. Yeah, they're talking about that already. They've talked about there's been a large number of COVID cases. Well, I mean, large by Japan standards, not necessarily large by international standards, or at least by American standards and so on. But the opening ceremony, again, they're trying to cut down on the spread, and this, of course, would be a spreader event type of thing, super spreader event, lots of people and so on. So they're trying to reduce it. Said, they were going to keep the venue at 50% of capacity for all for all events and everything, at 50% of capacity, even though they were advised by health experts who said that, just banning spectators was the best way to go. But they're talking about letting some people in there, trying to maintain spacing and so on. The events that are outside, actually, I don't see a big problem with having spectators. Of course, the thing is, you can have the socially distanced seating arranged and so on, but this is what I see in my classrooms here. The teachers are very careful to make sure that the students sit, 2 meters, 6 feet apart from each other during the class time, right? And even when they're speaking to each other, I do a listening and speaking class, I make sure that they stay separate while they're talking to each other. And of course, even though we're inside in the classroom, I have the windows open. Even though it's hot, we've got the air conditioner going while the windows are open. Not very eco-friendly, but in this case, people's health takes priority over the economy, the ecology of open windows with the air conditioner on and so on. So that's all good, keeping them spaced out, the social distancing during the class time. But before class, after class, they're all crowded together. So I really wonder what the real point is of having them social distance in the classroom. You can't force them to social distance when they're not under your authority, when they're walking on campus, or if they go to the convenience store across the street and they're talking closely in their small groups or whatever. Nothing we can do. It's up to them to maintain their own social distancing and so on. But in the classroom, we do what we do anyway. All right. So anyway, that was that. So this Folks paper, newspaper, online newspaper written by folks like me. Yeah. So I get my information from public domain news sources and so on, and then spread that around. Hopefully people will start to look to me for some news in Japan, Asia, the Philippines, places around here. That would be kind of neat. I could be a newsman. Thought I heard a knock, but I guess I did not. Anyway, so what else is happening in the world? Do you like that? Yeah, that's my desktop screen there, right? Probably recognize it. Maybe you don't. Yeah. Legal issues, we do the same thing in the classroom at my university. Yeah. Right. I guess, we have to. And, if there would be an outbreak, a cluster among students at the university. Yeah, I like that photo. If there would be an outbreak, then I guess the school would have to have plausible deniability or whatever. Yeah, hey, it's not our fault. We had our guidelines, we maintained them, and so on. So whatever. I guess that's why they're doing that. But it's kind of silly. Yeah, you got to do it. We do silly things all the time, right? Yeah, here I am broadcasting on HAPS. How much sillier can you get, right? Anyway, I used to play my game here in the hour before Layman's Philosophy, but there just haven't been enough players, enough viewers to justify playing a game. Don't know what's happened to people. Takara, who used to play all the time, is also does not have an iOS device. So I know that she hasn't made the move to Heckle, and she doesn't monetize, so I don't see her going to Twitch. I have seen her sometimes broadcasting, doing her Uno game, which I haven't played lately. The timing's just been off and so on. But so she's still out there, but I guess my timing is not so good. Brian, I see him once in a while, but I haven't seen him during my broadcast times very much. Again, maybe timing is just off. I don't know. I'm hoping that some people will come back. Staying out later in the U.S. because longer days in summer. Yeah, true. Yeah, could be, because that does kind of coincide with my decline in viewership, I guess. For a while there, though, as it was getting warmer, my viewership was building up. I thought that I was starting to be successful in developing a following. Had as many as 9 or 10 people for a few of the games. But then suddenly it seemed to suddenly fall off. So again, and that was about the time, as I said, that people, I had heard people voicing dissatisfaction with the HAPS platform. And so, there's, don't give up yet. Yeah, I'm not giving up. And I'm here, right? And I appreciate you dropping by and so on, and that's good. And I do plan to come online and shoot the breeze for a while. Like I said, I'm playing around with different content. The Friendly Feud game, which I really enjoy doing, and people seem to like it also. But it just doesn't work unless you have a quorum of players, right? Unless you have unless you have 4 or 5 players, it's not really much of a game. So I'm looking at that. I'm playing around with the idea of doing that on Twitch instead, simply because Twitch has more people viewing it, and maybe simply people will stumble across it and start watching it on Twitch. Even though I broadcast also to Twitch, maybe if I focus there, or develop a following there. I don't know. I do, from HAPS, multicast to Twitch. I've turned it off and on sometimes because I was wondering if it was worthwhile. I continue to multicast to YouTube. YouTube, I don't know what to do about that platform because nobody watches me on YouTube. At most, I have 1 or 2 views for any video on YouTube. People just don't find it. I mean, maybe it probably has to do with the title that I give my broadcasts. They're not catchy enough. I don't know if I don't know enough about YouTube, because it's just like, oh, I made the channel. Basically, a big motivation of making the channel was so I had a repository of some videos that I might want to use several times with students. I could record them there, and then they would always be available, and so on. Are you multicasting now? Yes, I am. I'm multicasting too. I think I turned Twitch back on. I turned on YouTube. I think it goes to Twitter Live also. So yeah, YouTube has so many broadcasters, though. Tough competition. Yeah, exactly. Tough competition. I mean, it's like anything else. and why do so many people go to New York in hopes of becoming famous, or go to Los Angeles in hopes of becoming, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of competition, but that's where the opportunities are. So YouTube is kind of like that. Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but then again, there are a lot of people consuming the product. Also, a lot of people consuming the videos that are being produced, and so there's always that chance of being discovered. Gonna see if you can find them. Okay, right on. Yeah. um, Jeff may stumble in here sometime. Let me see while I'm waiting here if I can find my layman's philosophy. July 7th, that is today. Okay, July 7th. Okay, get my slideshow going. Yeah, there you go. Right on. There's my layman's philosophy. I could move it down a little bit there. See how that works? Yeah. YouTube is not the ultimate live platform, I don't think. Um, while it is interactive to a certain extent, can be interactive to a certain extent, it's not wonderfully so. Um, what's this? Ego to ego. すべて対面のお願いします。What? Really? Let me see what this says. I just can't believe that they're doing that. Required English choosing are all English are face to face. Okay. I'm gonna have to check this out because it just does not seem reasonable to me. So maybe we would like to investigate in advance about the class form of the fall to fall school of the fall school of fiscal 2002. Huh? What? That's a terrible translation. Okay, let's see. That looks a little better. Let's see. For the subject matter we would like to investigate in advance in the fiscal 2021 autumnal opening course class, and for more details, please check the attached 2020 fiscal class or operation of the fiscal year classes. Now, please reply if you select or submit directly to the attached time breaking table, or reply the time breaking table. It's not the time, it's just timetable. Okay, reply schedule, whatever. Reply the day of the week, the course name, class form, face-to-face class execution date, combination of use. If you are in charge of class with more than one person, the teacher. Okay. All right. Okay, so in the fall we're going to be face to face. All right. Well, that's good. That's what That's what I signed up for. All this remote teaching is not what I signed up for. And I'm very, 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 very happy to be going back into the classroom. So found you on YouTube but not Twitch. What's your Twitch name? Ah, my Twitch name. Yeah. Dan in Japan. Dan 0 in 0 Japan, right? It's not O. Yeah. Because for the username, it doesn't allow spaces. It doesn't allow punctuation. And, I don't know why. Oh, there was something about, why didn't I use Daniel Miner? I can't remember. Maybe that was already taken or something. Let's see. Yeah, Daniel Miner was unavailable for some reason. I guess there's already a Daniel Miner. Let's see if I log in. Dan in Japan, log in. And what if I do a search for, how do you search for people here? I don't even know. Maybe I shouldn't use stream summary. No, let's see. Help, whispers. What's going on? Anybody still here? Dan in Japan. Yep, that's me. Dan in Japan. Still waiting for the Jeffersonian. Let's see. All right, and there we go. What do we got here? Daniel Mintz, Daniel Minaya, Daniel Mini Pro. I don't see any Daniel Miner. Why won't it let me do Daniel Miner? I don't understand why I can't do a Daniel Miner. If I sign up as user, this username is unavailable. Why? And if I put in underline, oh. Let's see what's happening. Please solve the puzzle so we know you're a real person. I'm not a real person. Pick the correct way up. Well, they're all correct, but I'll pick that one. Pick the correct way up. I mean, oh, and you sent me a verification code. Well, thank you for all that's worth. Let's see. Painting happy little trees. Okay, so that works too. But why couldn't, so it allowed me to do underlines. Why did it allow me to do underlines now and I couldn't do it before? Add a profile picture. Let's see. Where are my pictures? Photos. Um, all right, I'll do a banner later. All right, let's see how that works. Happy Gora. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Found you on Twitch. I don't think you are multicasting this broadcast to Twitch, though you could be correct. You could be correct. Let's see. Let me log out. I thought I was doing it to Dan in Japan. Yeah. Let's see. Prime Gaming channel and videos. Notification. Completing what is building community reach 5 people following at the same time. Okay. Path to affiliate. It begins. Completed. Oh, well, that's nice. Path to partner. What is thy bidding? Okay. All right. I don't know what all that means right now, but where is my stream? This channel is intended for mature and start watching. Offline. It says that I'm offline. It does say I'm offline. But why does it say that I'm offline? Looks like you broadcast on Twitch yesterday, though. Yeah, I think I did. Yesterday, I think I used not Haps, but Prism. Yeah, Prism. Well, that's just not working. Let's see. If I go to settings here and let's see, destinations. Oh, Twitch is turned off. That's why. Running. Okay, so now I think I am multicasting to Twitch as well. Maybe. Channel. Stream manager. Yep, there I am. Okay, now I'm on. Yeah, I am on the Twitch. I am twitching. I'm twitching now. Yeah. Hello, Awesome Mary. Awesome Mary. Yeah, I often watch you on Heckle. The last couple of days, I haven't actually caught your broadcast. I do like that little bird tweet that Simon uses for the the alert sound. That's kind of neat. But yeah, Mary, thank you for dropping in. Um, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, here I am. Yeah, that's one thing about uh, Heckle is you can't bring people up on camera, so it's a one-way street. Uh, you don't get a chance to hear the voices of your audience or see their faces unless you are lucky enough to catch one of their broadcasts somewhere, right? Yes, I'm on Twitch now. Okay, yeah. Again, it's just kind of, let's see. Is now live streaming. Okay, so there we go. So, Stream Elements. Yeah, I got to figure out how to get rid of Stream Elements because I don't even know how to use it or what it's doing. But yeah, Stream Elements is some plugin or something for what do you call it? Twitch. Yeah, that's it. Stream Elements. Gonna have to sign into that and muck around with the settings. Oh, like your clock? Oh, the clock. Oh, that, yeah. So it's the beginning of our second period here at the university now. Yeah. So no. We our class starts at 10 minutes to 10 minutes to 10. Yeah. Our university is the only one that I know of here in this city, in Kumamoto, that has 100-minute classes. Most universities have 90-minute classes. We have 100-minute classes, but then we have one fewer week in our semester than the other universities do. So we teach 14 times 100, right? 14 times 100 to give us 1,400, whereas most universities do 90 minutes for 15 weeks, which gives them 1,350. So actually, we teach 50 more minutes of class during the semester than most universities. So I guess that's how we can get away with it. The Department of Education here has certain guidelines or whatever. It used to be much easier. I remember when I first came to teach here, we always had to take attendance and so on, and the part-time teachers had to what do I teach? Philosophy. Haha. No. I teach English. Yeah. I know you can't tell it by listening to me talk, but yeah, I am an English teacher. And when I first came here, the guidelines were much more lax. And if we were scheduled for 15 weeks, 90-minute classes, 15 times during the semester. Actually, ours was a twice a week class, so it was actually 30 times during the semester. Your science is layman, so yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm a layman. I am not a philosopher. I took actually. That's right. I almost minored in philosophy. I didn't see any point in majoring in philosophy because what are you going to do with a philosophy major? I don't know. I couldn't think of any practical reason to get a major in philosophy, but I took enough classes that I think it was one credit shy of getting a philosophy minor, but I didn't bother to pursue that. Yes, I am in Japan. I've been here for 33. This is my 34th year, right? I came in 1988. Yeah, came in 1988. So I've been here 33 years. On my 34th year, I guess. I've been in this city, this prefecture, because I've actually lived a couple of different places within this prefecture. Prefecture is like state, I guess. Sorry, I'm sure it's pet peeve to write you instead of you. I'm not that prescriptive, really. I teach for communication, not for strict, not to follow any strict grammatical rules. And I try to, because our students come from a place where that is the way that they were taught, with strict grammatical rules. They were taught that any question has exactly one correct answer, right? That's kind of the Japanese educational system. They're not very flexible in a lot of ways, about a lot of things. They do that, I think, in order to ease the burden on the teacher when it comes to testing. The teacher will, say, okay, if you're given this question, then this is the answer that I will accept, and this is the only answer that I will accept. This is the correct answer. Okay. So that makes their grading procedure much easier. You either get it right or you get it wrong, right? Of course, we know that there are numerous ways of saying anything in English. Just about anything that you want to communicate, you have multiple options as to actually how to go about saying that particular thing, right? Conveying that particular idea. In Japan, actually, Japanese is a little different in that respect. There aren't so many different ways. There's some flexibility, but when it comes to formal language, there is a prescriptive, correct way to say things in the formal way. And there actually used to be a television show that I watched, not regularly, but I watched several times. And that was the idea behind at least one segment of the show was these celebrities would get on there and they would watch a video where there was some scene that was being acted out, and one of the characters was talking to someone who was obviously in a social position above them. For example, a secretary talking to her boss, or probably more likely talking to the company president or something. Somebody was very much higher than them. So the point was that in their interaction, at some point, they should have used more polite language than what they used in the video. And so the panel members, the celebrities, were trying to come up with the most polite way to express that person should have used, right? So, but this is a thing. They have experts on Japanese language and formal Japanese language that would judge the people. They say, oh, yes, that's formal, but that's not the most formal way to say it. There's a more formal way to say it. Yeah. It's the same in Spanish. Yeah. English is kind of, it's hard to be prescriptive in English. English doesn't have a set pronunciation, really. American English doesn't. British English has the RP, the received pronunciation, the King's English or whatever, Queen's English. Hey, Jeffer.
Hey there, Dan. What's shaking?
No, I don't know.
Watching right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a few. Yeah, Mary's here. Mary's.
I see Mary.
Yeah.
Hey, Mary.
I found her. I noticed her on Heckle.
Was she lost? Okay.
Well, she's here, isn't she? She must be at least somewhat lost.
Right? Was she lost though? Yeah. You said you found her.
Yeah. But yeah, she's on Heckle. Yes, she broadcasts quite often on Heckle, and I managed to catch some of hers. But out of all the broadcasts of hers that I've seen over a period of a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, something like that, only once have I actually seen her face actually in her broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, she generally is showing us the scenery and so on. She has something that she's going to show us. She's shy, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Could very well be. Sorry. Gotta few things going on, but yeah, great. She's shy, she says. Okay.
She's shy. Yeah.
Me too. I'm shy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mary, I'll invite you to join us here. Where
Yeah,
is
great.
yeah? Where is oh yeah, we've got Happy Gora. He's also around. And Black Eyed
Okay.
Dog is also around. We'll invite everybody up in case anybody else wants to
Sure.
shoot the breeze with us here. Yeah.
I think you did not send me any questions this week, Dan. So I'm totally clueless about what we're going to speak about today.
Actually, I did.
I'm usually
but I sent them
clueless
to you
anyway.
like the same day that we had. I sent them to you like a week ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me
I'm
see
pretty sure I
those,
did.
yeah.
I mean, I could check my mail, but that's not that important, you know. So, I mean,
Okay.
I intended to send you those. But
All
maybe,
right. Well, the last group, maybe previous week's questions I got on my messages, my SNS. You usually send them on my Google, my Gmail.
Right.
But and I didn't see anything on SNS. So anyway, no worries.
Okay, that'll work. I see a bunch of. I was looking back on because, like I said, I thought it was like right after we finished ours. I was making up the thing for next time, and I thought I passed it on to you. Wait, next week, yeah, June 30th. I said, yeah, it's on our iMessages. Next week,
iMessages, okay.
Yeah, iMessages. That thing that we use quite often, you know. So would a government run with algorithm? Yeah, I've got it. You know, questions 148, 149, and 150. So it's on there, but no worries. We got it on here.
Cool. Good. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Would a government run with algorithms, AI, and statistics be better or worse than the government we have now?
Wow.
At the least, and pick up son from work, but thank you. I'll take a rain check. Yes, please do. Stop in anytime. You know, treat us as a radio broadcast or something. You don't have to watch our ugly mugs in order to get the benefit of whatever slight benefit there might be to our
Speak for yourself, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one. My gosh, what a question. Jeez. Yeah. I think it would run better in some ways. And that would be in some countries. But actually, it looks like some countries are going that direction, right? Already, like China, sort of, right? I mean, they have those cameras everywhere, and cities keeping an eye on everyone, right?
Right. But those are just tools in order for the people to gather the information. I don't think there's no actual algorithm or AI that's actually making any real decisions, or maybe there is.
I mean, there's that thing where you have on good behavior, you're judged on good behavior. There's like citizen points or what have you.
That's true,
right? And if you're not up and up, as it were, right, you're going to be deducted something, right? Some points, or have some problems with the government.
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of AI.
Yeah.
In a way, right? Because there's got to be some algorithm that decides, like, what you're doing wrong, right? If you are doing anything wrong, right?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That reminds me. Are you a Black Mirror watcher? A Black Mirror fan?
Yeah. Do
you remember the one? What was the one about the woman who? Everything was all about the social points, you know, that you give every interaction you have, you give people a rating on the phone.
Did you see that? Remember that one? That was a few years ago, I think. I don't really remember it 100%.
It was quite interesting because you know, every interaction, or you know, whenever you interact with somebody, you know, you greet them, smile or whatever, anybody you interact with, you can give them points, you know, like 1 to 5 stars or whatever, right? And you know, so people, they post things on, the equivalent of Facebook or whatever, their social media and so on, and people react to them and give them, certain marks and so on. But it went beyond that, and that, for example, a woman tried to book a flight, but she had that's right, she had an interaction. She was talking with her brother, and so she was late in going to get in her Uber ride that she had booked, right? So the Uber driver had come to pick her up, and she was late coming out there. So the Uber driver gave her a bad rating, and so she was angry about that. And then so one thing led to another. She had some conflicts, and her social rating dropped a little bit. When she went to the airport, then she wasn't able to get an airplane flight because her level had dropped to the point that she didn't have enough status in order to get a seat on the plane. And so she ended up having to rent a car, and and she had all kinds of bad interactions, and her her social rating kept falling and falling, and it was quite hilarious. But then it wasn't long after that I heard about China's actual rating system and so on. I thought, wow, this is not science fiction. This is just a premonition of what's actually could be happening.
Right. Yeah. So I don't remember that episode fully, the one you were just talking about. So that must have been a couple of years ago, because it was before China.
Right. Yeah. I think it was
yeah.
season 3. I think it was season 3. Yeah.
Okay. So that was a couple seasons ago. Right. They're on season 5 now, I think. Right. Is that?
Are they still making them?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in a while.
The last season I saw only had 3 episodes, and I thought they were some of the weaker ones that they'd had. But yeah. But yeah, that one I particularly like because it seems so realistic. I said, yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and look what's happening in China, right? As we were just alluding to, right? And so, so getting back to the algorithms and AI, I think that's algorithm interaction and AI there. Now, whether it's better or not, gosh, that's a difficult question. I think humanity would rather go for freedom, right, and not having AI, not having Big Brother watching, I would imagine.
Right.
Me too. So in that sense, I don't think it would be better. Actually, I mean, of course, small things such as paperwork and keeping track of records and whatnot, all those things might be better. But as far as managing people and dealing with the public, not sure if it would be.
Well, I mean, the one thing that we see, and you see especially in third world countries even more, is the amount of, favoritism, nepotism, and right up bribery that goes on in order to get things done. Whereas if it was just a cold calculating machine algorithm that was deciding things, you go in there, it says, here's my paperwork, I do this and that and the other thing, and then it just an automatic, and yes, you've done everything, you get the permit, or know that you're lacking something, you don't, as opposed to kicking in some money in order to smooth the wheels in order to get things done, or somebody's brother knows somebody else and so on. Those algorithms could actually, in a lot, benefit a lot of bureaucratic actions, that are taking place.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean by kind of paperwork and the small things getting done more efficiently and whatnot. But I think in that case, but there's always some kind of how do I say, gray area, right? Yeah.
Is
what
there?
if and what if you, for example, you can't afford, for example, if you're going for a job and you have to have this credential, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you can't get that credential in a timely fashion, right? You have to stop school, you have to work, what have you, go back to school, right? And so there's a lot of gray areas that perhaps, right, that AI can't determine right now, right? And of course, it depends on how complex, AI is going to get in the future. But if it's just cut and dry, right, then it's difficult to kind of see the gray area, right,
Right, right, yeah. I mean,
and work its way through the
I
gray
mean,
areas, right?
in my view is that no algorithm is set in stone. So you develop the algorithm and you make adjustments to it as you realize things that appear that don't fit within the predetermined parameters that you've got set up, that you need to make adjustments and so on. I mean, I'm not saying that the algorithms, once set in place, would rule forever, and there's no appeal to them. I mean, obviously, human beings would still be involved to a certain extent, but those would be the exceptions rather than the rule. Whereas right now, the human beings, are the rule. That's basically they're doing it all, and there's it's not, for lack of a better word, fair, because of favoritism, nepotism, bribery, and so on.
Hmm. Hmm. Disney, yeah, no, I agree in that case, sure. Uh, as of now, right, when humans are running it, absolutely, there's right, there's a lot of these kinds of things that can come into the interplay. And again, of course, it depends on how advanced you look at the AI in regards to this question.
Mm-hmm.
Too. But right now, yeah, it's
and of course,
when humans are making the ultimate judgment.
Right. I mean, really, the ultimate question, though, is in this here is who is making the algorithms. Okay. Well, thanks, Mary. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. Thanks for subscribing too. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary. Bye. Have a great one.
Yeah. Who is developing these algorithms? Who is determining the parameters that are being considered, and the weight of the different factors in these algorithms? That's the thing. I mean, that's still, these algorithms are not created out of thin air. Somebody had to be involved in that. And even in the AI, what kind of priorities does the AI give in when it evaluates things and so on? So we haven't really eliminated the human element completely.
No, humans would be programming it at first, right?
Right.
And they would have to judge and see along the way, right, and make adjustments, of course, yes. And then, but will we get to the point where AI is going to make decisions on its own? What about that, right? Now that's a scary one for me, actually, right?
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, yeah, so for example, I could see, banks, using algorithms, AI, in order to determine whether someone will receive a loan or not, for example. Using an algorithm or something like that to determine those type of things. I mean, where is the real danger in that? Again, these are, as long as the algorithms, as long as the things are used as guidelines, and if somebody sees an anomaly, then there is a process by which before anything is decided, that an appeal can be made, right? I mean, you can extrapolate to the scariest scenario is where our judicial system was carried out by AI and algorithms, right? This person was accused.
Well, that's a prime example, yeah, of being gray area, right? That's a prime example of there being gray areas, right? And that would be very scary, absolutely.
Well, I mean, to me, which is, because so having AI which does calculated way, without emotions and without the spurious influences making the decisions, or these humans that are influenced by emotions, by their mood on that particular day and so on. I mean, we've had any number of and they're coming to light more and more, with the advent of advanced forensic technology and so on. Even cold cases where they discover that someone was incarcerated or even executed for crimes that they did not commit. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Let
And
me
those
give you a
people
good,
were,
yeah.
and those people were convicted by humans, right? Who were influenced by emotions and the influence of this, that, and the other thing. And this jury, and at this time in this place, might find the person guilty, whereas another jury, hearing the same evidence presented by the same people, in basically the same light, would give a different verdict. Right now, that
Right.
to me is really quite scary. Something as
Yeah.
serious as incarceration or taking someone's life, especially, and it's
Yeah,
being
sure.
decided by people that are influenced by their
Yeah, I think
emotions of the day.
if there's a certain amount of benchmarks, right, that the computer or the AI would go through to make determinations on this, I wouldn't see that as necessarily negative. Actually, it might be positive. Your scenario you just spoke about reminded me of a study I heard about judges, right?
Mhm.
That judges were studied if they were deciding a case before lunch, right? They were more likely to convict a person of a long sentence, right? A very very
Wow.
harsh time, right? After lunch, right? They were more found to be more lenient, right, on sentencing. Yeah, interesting, right? So that
Yeah.
goes into humanity right there, right?
I mean,
Right.
there is no such thing in my mind, but that goes in, to the idea of fairness. I mean, so
Hmm.
two people, committed the same crime on similar types of evidence, and yet, depending on whether the judge has a full stomach or an empty stomach, what kind of penalty they're going to receive. I mean, wow, in what world is that fair? I mean, I
No,
don't
you're
I
right.
don't believe
It's
that
not
anything is
fair. I think.
fair, but still,
But still, yeah. No, I thought that was interesting, fascinating. So,
yeah.
then you have these convicts who try to get judges after lunch,
Right.
for
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
cases.
Yeah.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, AI wouldn't be caught up in that, would it?
Right. Right.
So
Exactly. I
might
mean,
not be all that bad.
what I would see as a way to work toward this is to have these algorithms, this AI in place, as a reference for the human judges and so on, or the human bureaucrats to use,
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
at the
Hmm.
beginning, and then all at the beginning we default to the human judgment, but
Hmm.
every time the human judgment varies from what the what the AI has determined would be the proper course, then there needs to be some kind of documentation as to the thinking of the human as to why they chose that, right? Just as kind of a check, and also in order to be able to better the algorithms, right? If
Sure,
the
that's
algorithm
actually
shows,
not a bad idea. Yeah,
right,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that way over a period of time, the algorithm would become more and more accurate, or at least, again, we don't just because the human chose one way and the algorithm chose another doesn't mean that the algorithm was correct or that the human was correct. But when there's a discrepancy, then we look at that, we look at the reasoning of the human, and then say, okay, this human had a good point here. We need to add that to the algorithm. Or in this case, the human was wrong. We should have actually gone with the AI. We want to eliminate that kind of thinking, in these kinds of decisions.
Yeah, it might even lead to a little chip in the future that, you have in your brain that, like, when you make these kinds of decisions, right, the little chip gives you a little bit of a stimulus there, right? Like, hey, watch that decision there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can see it lead to something like that, right?
And are you up for that kind of technological augmentation of the physical
Oh,
augmentation?
only in science fiction stories at this point.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it might lead the way to that, right?
Right.
Yeah, which
Right.
is another scary proposition altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's
yeah.
I actually, I mean, I suppose, you know, if I was born later that I would have an entirely different attitude, but I'm almost grateful to the fact that I was born at a time when that kind of physical augmentation was not a possibility yet, or not a real possibility for the majority of people. I mean,
Right.
I don't want that kind of physical augmentation. I don't want some kind of a memory implant, or, you know, we've seen that there've been, you know, several movies and shows and things like that where people have like memory implants and they can play back their memories, or people can download their memories and so on. And that sounds like a bad idea to me, you know. All kinds of these different kinds of physical. I mean, wearing glasses is about you know, about the extent that I want to go to for you know, for
Yeah.
physical, you know, I don't want to make it a permanent part of it, but we do things like that. If you know, if I my father, for example, had a hip joint, you know, a hip
Yeah.
replacement.
My mom had a knee replacement. Yeah.
Right. You know, so is that, you know, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, but at least that's not a smart machine. You know, I mean, that's just a, you know, a gross physical, you know, replacement for something that it doesn't have any, you know, interactive
Mhm.
input into the, you know,
No,
into
right,
our
right.
decision making and so on. So
That's
that's
right.
one
That's
thing,
right.
you know.
That's one thing, and that's maybe where we should draw the line. But I want to just, if possible, just look at the question of governments, right? You
Uh-huh.
know, I feel sorry for some countries because some governments are just corrupt, right, and
Hmm.
tyrannical, right, and so yeah, so of course it depends on the government, but I feel sorry for some people for some populations actually,
Absolutely.
right,
But
have
again,
less freedom, right?
that brings into question, you know, who's writing the algorithms, right? You know,
Hmm.
so if you're in a corrupt government and they decide to implement AI and machine algorithms to decide you know, make decisions about the government, uh, that, you know, they're going to probably write those algorithms in such a way that it reflects their own values, you know, the own choices that they would make. And so, you know, in that way, the algorithms, the AI might not improve the government at all.
Right, right,
In
true,
fact, it
true,
might make it
right,
worse
yeah,
because now you
might
can't
make
even
it worse.
bribe your way out, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, true, true, true. Right. Yeah,
Mm.
and for the AI, you would have to have the technological advances enough to be able to do that too, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
guess some
exactly.
countries are hanging by a thread when that's concerned.
Right, right. Yeah. You know, and so what? I mean, you know, if you were a third world country, and you know, let's say you're living in a third world country and you have questionable leaders in that country, would you welcome an outside country coming in and bringing their AI and machine algorithms in order to run your country? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know if I would feel comfortable with that either, you know?
right.
Um,
Yeah, no, yes, right. I don't think so. I think a lot of countries would not like that.
right, right. Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of countries, a lot of citizens,
a
you
lot
know,
of
it's like,
citizens
yeah,
too.
you know, wait a minute, this machine was built in China? Wait,
Yeah,
I don't know.
wait a minute. Right.
This was built in North Korea? Maybe not.
Yeah, but if the United States were to do it, maybe some citizens would be like, "Oh yeah, the United States, come and take me back to your country, please." You know,
Right, right.
uh,
Yeah.
things like that would happen too, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, yeah. So, you know, government, so things like, you know, visa applications and so on. Let's say that we continue into the foreseeable future to have the requirement that you need a visa to travel from certain countries to other certain countries and so on. And so that request for a visa would be looked at by some AI, some machine algorithm, and so on, you know. Um, yeah. That, you know, that would be, you know, that would probably be better, right? I mean, in some ways. um
yeah,
and
might
yet,
be.
I mean, at least it would be clear. I mean, you know, that's the one thing. I mean, you know, what is better, you know? I mean, I think fair is, you know, is a hard thing to nail down, you know, to actually define what is fair and so therefore it's difficult to implement any kind of an algorithm that would be fair. But at least if it was a machine algorithm, if it was something laid out in code and so on that we could look at, then at least the decision making process would be clear.
That's
right?
a very good point. I think that's the most important thing, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If all the benchmarks are clear, are totally clarified and laid out, then everyone would know it, right?
Right.
And everyone would know which direction to take, and if they're right or wrong.
Right. Yep.
So that would be a good one.
Yeah. So I mean, the government, so is the police force is a branch of government, right? Is a part of the government, right?
For sure.
So then so instead of having the policemen interacting with citizens at their own discretion, now it all depends upon an algorithm, how they're what kind of interaction they're going to have with those people. That might actually prove beneficial in various ways. It
might prove beneficial. Yeah.
Again, it's hard for us to imagine this because our technology level may be close to the point where we could do this, but until we see it in action, and like I said, that intermediate step, I think, is what's so important, where the AI and the machine algorithms serve as a tool, as a reference, to be compared, to maybe influence or to be compared to how humans would make a decision in the same situation.
Right. And now they're kind of at that level, but even now they're not that perfect, even at that, right?
Right.
So they're getting developed, but you're right. Yeah. So there's a long way to go before that comes into play, I think. Yeah. I don't know if it'll be happening in our lifetimes. Do you think so? Considering maybe we have 30 more years or so, you and I, perhaps.
Yeah.
On this earth.
Yeah, maybe 30. Yeah, I'd be happy with 30. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You'd be almost 90, or you would be 90, wouldn't you? You'd be 91.
I'd be 91. Yep. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
I told you I've got an aunt who's 101.
Yeah, you did say that. That's right.
Still goes out and mows her own lawn.
Jeez. Okay, there you go. Good genes.
I guess so.
I guess. Yeah. Good corduroys too.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So let's see what else we got on. What else we got on the menu today?
What's on the agenda here, Dan? Oh my gosh.
Would it be a better or worse place if everyone looked the same?
Oh my.
But they all look like you. It'd definitely be a worse place.
I was going to just say that about you.
No.
Oh my God, who would want to look like Dan? Jeez. I think it would be terrible, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be able to tell anyone apart, first of all.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell anyone apart. I mean, well, let's say that there were,
how would you differentiate people then, though?
Well, I mean, again, if we're at this pace, this is not going to happen tomorrow, right? Obviously, I mean,
no.
So I'm assuming that we could, we could probably have, some type of markers or some kind of be it an implant or something like that, or so that we something so, but basically we all look alike, but there's some kind of identifier so that we know who our partner is, who our friends are, and so on. Yeah, I mean, it would make things confusing though. I mean, you see your wife out with some other guy, was it or wasn't it? They all look alike.
It'd be terrible, right?
Yeah. But then again, so right? So we have something, maybe. I mean, the only way I could see that would work is if we would have some kind of an implant, So like you scan the person and you say, oh yeah, I know who that is. I know who that is. So there's like this instant recognition.
Sure, a huge problem would be crime and criminal activity, right?
Well, again, if we have that, whatever this thing is, an embedded chip, this thing that I'm against, but I think that's what this would almost imply the need for that type of thing, chipping everyone so that who is who, and so if they commit a crime, who it was because they were scanned at that location, they were identified at that location, and so on. Otherwise, yeah, how is society going to work?
Right.
If all you did, if you just took it now and made everybody cookie cutter mannequin faces of of one of two different male and female or whatever, or wait, everyone looked the same, so now there is no male or female, so we're not all
I thought about that too. You said with your wife out with some other guy, right? You wouldn't even know it would be your wife, right? If everyone looked the same.
I can't even imagine this now, actually.
Yeah, right. And how would everyone look the same anyway, right? There
Right.
would have to be some AI intermingling anyway, wouldn't it?
Right. Assuming developments in gene editing and so on, I suppose it would be possible. Through.
Would we want that? Right. That's the whole question too, isn't it? Would we want that?
Well, I mean, that's why I haven't quite wrapped my head around this yet. So if everyone looks the same, then everyone has the same, down to genitalia.
Oh, Dan.
So everyone is hermaphrodite now. Otherwise, there could be no reproduction, right? If everybody's going to be the same, and there's still going to be sexual reproduction, then I guess everybody would have to have both. So you've got the choice. I don't know. This is just too weird. This is too weird.
That is a weird one. That's a really weird question. Yeah, it's really hard to wrap your head around. And I'm thinking like robots are creating the people at that point, right?
Right.
Because they might not even care or not even think about everyone looking different, right?
When I first read this question, what popped into my head was the prevalence of cosmetic surgery in places like Korea, right? And I've in looking through different platforms, there are a couple of Korean, predominantly Korean social platforms, right? And the girls, the girls in their from late teens to their 20s all look the same to me. And I've lived in Asia long enough that that I don't have quite that the typical white male viewpoint that all Asians look the same. I don't think quite that, but they,
and then you have to look at the word "the same," right?
Right.
What does that mean? 100% identical, or extremely similar, right? Which is, I think, the case in Korea. They look extremely similar. There are slight differences, but
they have this image of this beauty ideal that they have in their mind, and they are very willing and able to use cosmetic surgery in order to come closer to that ideal, and they all are aiming for basically the same ideal, so they are all becoming more and more looking alike. Of course that's cosmetic surgery, and so the children are still going to have the genes of the original, so that's not gonna do too much. Could you imagine you marry a woman and she has a certain look, and you think, oh wow, I'm looking forward to seeing the kids because they're going to look like their mother. Hopefully they'll have share characteristics with their mother, but those characteristics that appealed to you were not natural, they were cosmetic, and so the kids don't share those cosmetic features. That would be disappointing, right?
That'd be quite disappointing, actually, right? Well, even so, that still happens now. With two perhaps very good-looking parents, they're not necessarily going to have a very good-looking child, right? That's happened too, even naturally, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you don't really know, but that is one question for thought, I swear.
Yeah. That's weird. Okay, well, I think I've had enough of that. That's kind of creepy. Okay.
That is
Um,
creepy, yeah.
all right. How about this? What causes the most harm in the world but is completely avoidable?
Oh wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. The most harm. Gee, wow, gosh. And is completely avoidable. What do we mean by harm?
What do we mean by harm?
Sacrifice, hardship, right?
You know,
Or
I mean,
murder.
what popped into my head? I mean, definition of harm. That's difficult. I mean, I just kind of
Yeah.
had this idea of what that means, but to me, what popped into my head was hunger.
Okay, that's
Right?
harm. Yeah, sure.
I mean, what I have heard, it seems to be the case that the planet is producing enough food to feed the world, but
Mm,
because of distribution and politics and this, that, and the other thing, that it's not distributed to the extent that everyone has enough to eat, and so that seems to me avoidable. I mean, yeah, it is completely avoidable, I would argue. I mean, based on the things that I've heard, and I don't have any, don't have any quotes or anything like that, but that's been my impression.
I agree. I've heard the same thing about water too. Clean water, right? That there is people can get access to clean water, right, with a little bit of ingenuity, and yet it's still not happening,
Mm.
right, in many countries of the world, many parts of the world, right. Hunger is a good one, right. I think it is avoidable, sure.
Yeah.
And we should try to avoid it, actually. Yes.
Hey,
Because I think it
Eleanor.
is. Hey, Eleanor. I think it is avoidable. I think it should be. How about war? War is avoidable, I think, and it causes harm.
Is war avoidable? I mean, it's avoidable if all parties involved in in international incidents and international disagreements are willing to work things out
Right.
some other way. But if you
Yeah, no,
have
I think it is avoidable, in that respect. Yes,
hmm,
if they work things out,
right, yeah, I mean, yeah, so many things
which they
are
should.
completely are physically completely avoidable. It's just that at this point humans don't seem to be motivated enough, or the right humans aren't motivated enough to actually avoid them.
You're right. Yeah, I think
Man.
they're not interested. Yes, you're not interested.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
they're not
go.
interested. Yeah, yeah.
Man, that's the perfect
Man,
answer,
yeah,
right?
okay,
Right?
right.
What
That's
causes most harm in the world is completely
true.
avoidable. Man, yep, okay,
Man,
got it.
yes.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're already here, so yeah.
How sexist of you, Eleanor. How
Yes.
sexist of you.
Yeah, and also, right, for example, economic hardships are quite avoidable when you look at it, right? I mean, lately I've been seeing all these kind of things on YouTube about the homelessness problem in Los Angeles
Mhm,
and New York, but it's
mhm.
just unbelievable, right? So many homeless people now in America, right? Now, why is that happening? Is that avoidable?
Oh,
I
I
think
would say
it's
absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
avoidable, right?
You
And
know,
so, so what is that? What is causing that harm, right? It's people who, don't really care so much.
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so
Yeah.
Eleanor changed it
I
to
know. I
human.
saw that.
Yeah, okay.
She's a human.
Yeah. Um,
Human. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's some of the things seen in from the pandemic. Number of, I mean, the income among the upper or 1% of 1%,
More upper to
has
1%. Right.
increased tremendously,
Mm,
whereas in the lower income brackets have suffered.
tremendously.
Right. So
When I was a kid, in the 70s and 80s, right? I mean, there were homeless people in New York. I
mhm.
lived in New York in the late 80s, and there were homeless people, but not nearly as many as there are now, right?
Hello, Anthony.
Hello, hello, Anthony. Galax City. Yeah. Right, Dan. So why? How? So that I would say is avoidable, right? With more attention from the higher ups. But how do we avoid it from this point on?
I mean, if we if we continue to operate, under the same parameters that we do now, I don't think it is avoidable. It would require, um, massive rethinking of things like corporate structure, allowing corporations. It would allow, massive, rethinking of capitalism, socialism, because it historically, I can't speak, for biology or psychology, but through history, it is definitely the case that wealth and power, accumulates in the hands of a few individuals,
Yeah,
and
sure. Those at the top. Yeah,
right,
absolutely. Right. And
and
the real estate market is crazy now. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think real estate, I've heard real estate, for example, is one market, one industry, right? Where there are hardly any regulations, yes. It's
Hmm.
just basically market driven, right? Geared to what people will pay for an apartment. And now it's beyond the reach of most people, right? Many people, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So people can't afford even to live in an apartment. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It is
So that's
not good.
not good. And you're right. It takes rethinking, rehashing of capitalism, and I think capitalism is kind of almost destroying uh, a lot of the modern world,
Yep.
especially when it's unregulated. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but then again, so if you bring government into it, that brings in, a whole another set of problems, Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally
so
does. Totally does.
I don't know. I've been listening to Thoreau lately, Henry David Thoreau. I was
Oh
listening
yeah.
to his. I downloaded his on civil disobedience, and I was listening to that again. I read it years ago, and I was just re-listening to it, and yeah, it's. I mean, it's
Right.
amazing to me at how well his words fit today's situation.
Mm,
you
they
know
do totally.
I mean, from 100 years ago, 100 and some years ago, until now, um it's just amazing how well it fits.
It does. And Anthony said capitalism kills family owned and independent stores like coffee shops and bookstores. Absolutely. Yes. Capitalism is just wiping out the mom and pop shops that made America, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day. And, when I was a kid, I remember a lot of mom and pop shops, these very pleasant little shops and stores, and, right, that just got totally wiped out. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
horrible shame for the history, but it's also a shame for the direction it's going, right?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of issues with, government control and government regulations and so on, but the absence of them provides, causes greater harm or allows greater harm to be done than usually than the implementation of those regulations by the government. Uh, a book that I read, um, The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Have you read that?
Uh, Gosh, yes, years ago, years
Right.
ago. God,
That
yeah.
had a really strong impact on me when I read that.
I'll have to read that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Henry David Thoreau too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good, great books for thinking, for thought, right? Thought projects. I mean, do you have any more information on those books? Anything out of there you want to share more in depthly?
Well, I mean, the famous quote near the beginning of the book, or at the beginning of the Thoreau's book on civil disobedience, the government that governs best is the one that governs least, and and the
Yes.
best government is one that governs not at all.
Yeah.
But he also went on to say that, and that is the government that man will have when he's ready for it. So he recognized the fact that we can't just dismantle government and turn people loose, in the state that they are now. Man is too many men are too selfishly motivated, and so on. So, but I mean, as a goal, right, something to work towards, and
Right.
it seems that we're working in the other way. We're working towards more and more government, and government that's governing more and more, getting into the finer and finer details of our lives, as opposed to, letting us as individuals have more control and do things our own way.
Right. So isn't that more of a Republican stance, right? Less government interaction.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
That's
true.
So I mean, I think that Thoreau would be, very, disillusioned with the way things have developed,
and very put off.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Okay, we're talking about capitalism, right? Being the great destructor, right? And super huge corporations and whatnot, right? And the real estate market just expanding and making it unaffordable to live. There are people who would say you can't stand in the way of progress. What do you think about that?
I think they're idiots. I mean, I think that maybe they haven't thought it through. I mean, you can't. Well, actually, you can, and at times you should, and we recognize that. So this going back to the topic of gene editing. We recognize the fact that this is something that man really doesn't have. We've developed the technology, but not necessarily the knowledge base necessary to make good decisions about how to use that technology we've developed. And we have said, okay, all right, we're not going to use this now on humans, right? I mean, the Chinese guy jumped the gun and did that, and there's been a lot of hubbub about that, right? So maybe in that way, yeah, you can't, because somebody will go around, the guidelines, the rules, and so on. But I would definitely say that there are times when we should, right? We definitely should.
Totally, absolutely right. And Eleanor said, "Can we learn to avoid the ego?" And I think the ego has a lot to do with that in progress, right? People wanting to make more money, build bigger things, right? Expand more and more and more. But is that actually progress? It's kind of almost degressing in a way, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you mean by progress? Define progress, right?
Right. What is progress exactly, right? Many people would say yes, making a fortune, right?
Right. Yeah.
Building their dream resort. I don't know. I mean, right?
So was the Industrial Revolution, where the changes brought about by the Industrial Revolution, was that progress? I mean, it allowed the expansion. It allowed human populations to grow suddenly. It allowed the greater production of goods. It allowed the greater production of food and so on. Also, or that was actually the agricultural revolution before that. But so these type of things. But was that progress? I mean, without the Industrial Revolution, if that hadn't occurred the way it did, our population problem wouldn't be what it is today, right?
That's exactly right.
So in what way was
pollution
that
pollution wouldn't be the same either. Pollution.
That's right.
Totally different now.
Yeah, we wouldn't be seeing this global warming, this climate change that we're experiencing now. Probably.
That's right. We might not even be seeing the pandemic.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's just, crazy. So, yeah.
In what way is that
There's a lot.
progress? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What is progress?
Can you hang on a second, Dan? I got to get the door for a second. There's
Okay.
someone here. Just
Yep. All right. You're mute. You're gone. Bye bye. Yeah. All right. Well, so much for the Jeff. Okay. Can we learn to avoid the ego? Because I would say the ego, I'm not sure that's possible. Yeah. Can you avoid the ego? I mean, how does the ego develop in the way that it does? Now we're talking, psychology, biology, um, sociology. Uh, these things, none of the three of those that I just mentioned am I knowledgeable about in any real way. So yeah, how do
sorry
we
about that.
avoid? Yeah, how do we avoid the ego?
How do we avoid the ego? I think it's really important. I think the ego has a lot to do with that.
Mm. Yeah, but what I was just saying, that involves, biology, psychology, sociology, and I don't know anything about those three topics really to speak of. So that's way beyond me. Yeah.
But without ego, people wouldn't try to amass fortunes, right? And build, massive malls and resorts and whatnot, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I know. I definitely agree that if we could avoid the ego, if we could take ego out of the equation, so to speak, that would eliminate a large number of the problems that we are experiencing. But that's I can't imagine how we could go about that. I mean, what kind of biological changes, what kind of psychological changes, what kind of sociological changes are going to be needed in order to accomplish that?
I think people are waking up to it, Dan, more and more now, right? That whole issue of consciousness, right, and ego, right? I think people are kind of waking up to it and realizing,
drugs. All we have to do, that what was that with that one everybody was on the drug Soma or something like that. I mean, we see it also. I mean, Brave New World, Huxley, Brave New World was talking about controlling people with drugs and so on too. But then there was that one, who's that actor that did the American Psycho?
Wasn't that Woody Harrelson?
No, and he was in Prestige with and Christian Bale. Christian Bale.
Yes, right. Okay,
and he was in one, some kind of futuristic thing, and he was like an enforcer of some type, But everybody took this drug in order to basically dull their emotions and so on, and but they basically didn't get excited about anything. They didn't get upset about anything. They were under control. Their minds were just kind of smoothed out, Prozac. There you go, Prozac. Oh, that's all we need, a little Prozac, But I mean, yeah, if you want to eliminate the ego, just enough of the right drug, and people will.
No, I don't know if you have to eliminate the ego, right? People have to just think, try to be aware, right? Aware of when the ego's getting more into play and the ego's more controlling. Yeah, of course it's hard to do. It's hard to do. I think people, the age of Aquarius is coming upon us, right? People are becoming more aware of these kinds of harm, getting more and more into meditation and whatnot. I think they're becoming aware of it, but I think it's still very, very, it's a difficult issue without elimination. Yeah, I mean, there is that, I guess. Totally eliminate it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. The duty of civil obedience. Okay.
Accept the motto that government is best which governs least, and I should like to see it acted up to more rapidly and systematically carried out. It finally amounts to this, which I also believe, that government is best which governs not at all. And when men are prepared for it, that will be the kind of government which they will have, right?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Right.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, the guy, I kind of like his thinking, but yeah, it's again, it's an ideal that practically speaking, we're never going to achieve, right? Yeah.
Difficult. Like, yeah, ego, watching the ego, that's hard, right? It's difficult for people to kind of, quell their ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although it's better, probably better, right? Not
Mm.
to let your ego get involved with things.
Exactly.
And just, correspond with people without ego. Yeah. I think you can still make progress without these things going on that we're doing. And look at the demise of the American shopping mall. Actually, look at that's I think a good example. The rise of the shopping mall. I remember pre-malls, actually. Yeah. Do you remember that time, Dan?
Pre-malls?
Yes, before shopping malls. I think. Well, I don't remember. Okay, when I was a kid, there was a mall. I guess one mall. But there was still a very active downtown area in my town. So we used to go downtown and to the mall, right? It was great,
Mm-hmm.
But the downtown was thriving. It was a very lovely small community, right? Then another mall popped up, and then the malls, killed the downtown. So I think that in that way, progress has to kind of be watched, right?
Absolutely.
It's like those who are best suited to be leaders in positions of power are those who are far too smart to want to lead or be in positions of power. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. How and why do people, want to be in positions of power, right? Mall was Main Street. Yeah, exactly. That's totally true. Mall was Main Street. Mm. And now in my town, the town I grew up in, Pennsylvania, the local mall has been closed because of the coronavirus, right? So certain shops opened up downtown a little bit, but I have no idea what the situation is now.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, right. It's a really hard call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you looking at Equilibrium?
Yeah, that's the movie that I think I was thinking of before.
Okay. Christian Bale.
Yeah,
I think I do remember that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, artistic expression, feelings and artistic expression are outlawed, and citizens take injections of psychoactive drugs to suppress their emotions. Yeah.
How terrible, though, isn't it? Isn't
yeah.
Just a terrible thought, right?
Right. And so at first, so the Bale plays one of the enforcers, like a policeman, looking for these people that aren't taking their drugs and any kind of, displaying any kind of emotion or any kind of artistic, expression and so on. But then he gets his eyes become open to the fact that this is actually, what makes life worth living. And so it's an interesting movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. And yeah, the martial arts are kind of interesting.
Cool. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I'm going to check it out. Yeah,
really? Okay. Yeah. I was, I like, I kind of like Christian Bale, a lot of the things that he does.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely good. Definitely good. I just must have missed that one. Yes.
That's not allowed, Jeff. You cannot do that.
Daniel, is that a few years ago? Or when was that?
2002.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Quite a while ago.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, one of his earlier films, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'm going to check it out. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Eleanor says, as an artist, that's very frightening, and I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you an artist, Jeff?
Somewhat. I don't really know. What's an artist? Yeah, just write fiction. Play guitar.
Yeah, I've listened to you play guitar, and I've read your fiction. I'm still So are you an artist?
Be quiet right now.
I'm still waiting for evidence,
Dan, quiet that trap right now. I didn't say it was all entirely grand or great, but I do
Yeah,
it. you
yeah, yeah. I'm an artist too. I suck, but I'm an artist. Yeah, it's
Well, hey, I
right.
mean,
My
what's
stick
good
figures don't even. My stick
is
figures
is
don't even look like stick figures.
is I don't know how you can mess up a stick figure, man.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Good is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? What's good? Everything's good, right?
Yep, yep. Everything's good. Everything's bad. Yep.
Everything's good,
Yeah.
everything's bad. By the
Yeah.
way, I've been practicing some of my songs on guitar. I do want to do a live eventually
Yeah.
when I get my
Absolutely.
voice down.
Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah. Absolutely. You should.
I should. I
Now be
really
careful.
should.
Only play your originals so you can
Yes.
monetize it or whatever. Or you don't get banned or whatever the thing is.
Right. Yeah. I thought about that. Right. I guess you can't do songs that are out there now, right? It's a
Right.
hard call,
I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. What is it? I mean, even some songs that are yeah recordings recordings that are in the public domain or whatever, I guess, are okay. But yeah,
Yeah. Right. Like,
I mean, the music is complicated because there's the melody that's copyrighted, there's the lyrics that are copyrighted, but there's also the arrangement that can be copyrighted, right?
yes. Right. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So it's
Yeah.
beyond
I
me.
thought about this cool app idea that I was
Hmm.
gonna try to pursue. It's like this guitar riff app, right?
Hmm.
Like collecting cool guitar riffs or leads, right? Guitar leads, right? And just
Uh-huh.
amassing all these cool guitar leads. And then I read on the internet that some of those, yeah, you can't do that. I think it's over a certain length or something. You
Yeah,
can't
I think
you can't do that. You can't compile these, right? Yeah.
right, right. I think, and it's fairly short. It's like 30 seconds or something like
Yeah.
that.
Something
Which
like
is
that,
why,
right?
when you go on to these music apps, that like iTunes or whatever, if you're not subscribed or paying for it, that you can only play like 30 seconds of a song as a sample or something like that. I think that's all they're allowed to play by copyright restrictions or whatever.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's cool. I've got some originals.
Okay,
Yeah.
have you got any good ones?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can rate them on a scale of 1.
They're all ones. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, sorry, 10, 10, 10.
Oh, okay. I thought scale of 1. Okay, yeah, from 1 to 1, right? They're all a 1. There you go. Yeah.
No, from 1 to 10. Yeah, yeah. Please rate them. I just have to get my voice together because I wrote a lot of these songs in my 20s, and the key is different. I can't reach some of those notes. Yeah, you can't make a profit off of it if it has to be royalties, right?
Mm.
You want to make a profit off of, you need to buy the royalties. Ah, okay, right. So, okay, only if you make a profit, really. So, okay, you can be a cover band and perform it for free. Oh, wow. Okay.
Really?
So that
Cover bands can
means,
perform for free?
uh,
Didn't
uh,
know that. I thought they were also had to license the songs. Interesting.
so that means someone can play uh, uh, things on covers on online, I guess, huh? I'm writing her about that right now. Yeah, they could, but if he wants to, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple. There's a couple older songs I wouldn't mind doing, but yeah, it's. I was under the impression too you couldn't do that.
I mean,
You had to pay royalties. Yeah.
there's a guy that on YouTube that I listen to sometimes. I can't remember the guy's name. I haven't listened to him for the last couple of months or so, but for a while I was listening to him, and he analyzes all these songs. He's mostly a guitar player, but he's an overall musician and very much into the rock music of this, especially the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and so on. And he'll analyze them, and he plays, but he's very careful. He says, "Oh, I want to talk about this song, but the people that own the such and such music company that owns the rights are really sticklers about this. They'll block my video as soon as if I play.
Yeah, are you talking about a YouTube guy?
Right.
Maybe Rick Beato. No,
that could be him.
I follow him too. Yeah, he's had some problems with that.
Right.
Because he demonstrates how to play songs on the guitar on his videos, and he's had some problems with that. But Eleanor just said, if you're on a platform like this, you have to be careful because Haps is making a profit. So that's where it gets tricky.
Right on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Haps is making a profit. But I'm not making a profit.
Yeah, I don't really care about the profit, actually.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, it'll be fun. Well,
you don't care about the profit?
Not that profit. I do have that profit too, actually, in my bookshelf. That's a good profit, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a whole collection.
Wow. Gee, wow. Why so many, Dan?
Yeah, the Prophet and Nymphs of the Valley.
Are you trying to be profitable? Come on.
And Spirits Rebellious.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
Gonna have to borrow those sometime.
Yeah. They're hardcover.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had these I've had since my university days. Yeah.
Nice.
And for a long time.
Very long. Very long.
Yeah. Gonna have to reread them one of these days.
Yeah. I'll read them before you get to it. And then I'll fill you in. Sounds good. Great. Yeah, good discussion today.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as for tomorrow, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the afternoon one because we have I've got the first coronavirus vaccination tomorrow. At 4:30, I think it is. Right when we usually do that. So I'm going to try to do it after that.
Actually, it's probably a good thing because I just remembered as you were talking, tomorrow we have an ethics thing tomorrow about research, ethics and research.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right.
It's online, and I could actually miss it and watch the replay, but I was going to just watch it so I didn't have to explain why I didn't watch it live or whatever, so
yeah.
But anyway,
that's
actually good timing that it happens tomorrow. So
okay, sounds good.
All right,
Eleanor, please join us tomorrow, maybe 6 or 6:30 p.m. Here, Japan time, which is probably middle of the night over there. Yeah.
Let's see, it'd probably be, in Chicago, it'd be like
5 o'clock in the
morning.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in Chicago. Wow. Okay, that's sorry about that. We'll try to get on a better schedule.
Yeah, we'll work on that. All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Everyone, it's been
3 a.m. Mountain. Okay, 3 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Yeah. Wowza.
Oh
yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, Jeff. What a way to end.
Thanks for waking up, Eleanor.
Yep.
No, thank you very much. Great guys.
All right.
Thanks.
See you guys
today. Yep.
Bye-bye.